Welcome everybody out to podcast number 327. Are you setting the right boundaries? Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome everyone. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're getting ready for a really killer July 4th, 4th of July. Be safe. I hope you have a great time. I hope you have Monday off. It's so nice to just take some time off. In fact, that's what I'm excited about in life right now. I'm excited about a wonderful holiday weekend, the ability to rest. A lot of us grind so much and just get things done, and we're working all the time and focusing to the point that it's just nice to let our brains rest a little bit, enjoy family, enjoy good food. So I hope you're really gonna, let go and get some rest this weekend. So that's what I'm hoping. So like I said, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're excited. I hope you're enjoying everything, and that you're excited to come back to work. If you're not excited to come back to work, then maybe there's something that you need to adjust, right? And that's what we're here to do at Elevate Construction, is to make sure that when you come back to your project, you're excited to be there, that you have respect, you have a remarkable environment, you have a healthy project team, and that you can really take care of your families. So let's go ahead and get right into this today. We're going to talk about setting boundaries today. And boundaries are a good thing. And let me just intro this by saying, a lot of us have tendencies to get mad, and we use anger as a crutch. And I've talked about this before, but a real woman and a real man will, once they've arrived at that state of training and that mindset, can have difficult conversations without getting angry. Meaning that they'll get into a mental paradigm where they still will do the right thing. So there's a couple of different circumstances we find ourselves in. If we expect a lot of things from other people, and we don't appreciate what's best, or maybe we even do. But when we expect things from other people, then when we're disappointed, it causes an emotional response. Or we use an emotional response, anger or sadness or whatever, to manipulate other people. Most of the time, and I didn't like hearing this when I first heard it, but I believe it's true. Most of the time, our emotional responses are a way to manipulate other people and to assert control. And when we can get to the point where we say, you know what, I don't expect anything from others. I expect certain standards, and I appreciate the best that everyone has to give, then I think we can get to a really powerful point in our lives where we don't ever have to get angry, where we can legitimately say, oh, that didn't happen. Well, it still needs to happen, so I'm going to do the right thing. I'm still going to do the right thing, but I'm not going to get mad about it. So expect nothing, expect certain circumstances and standards, but appreciate people's best and still do the right thing according to the circumstances and the project standards that you need. That way we don't blame people. We start to blame the process. So what in the process is failing us to the point where we need to go ahead and get it fixed, right? Then we can just say, all right, this didn't happen. What can we fix in the process? And if there are processes and behaviors that are failing us, we just take care of it in a dispassionate way, right? We have boundaries. There's a difference between somebody who has emotions and somebody who has boundaries. And I think it's totally okay for us to have boundaries. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So let's talk about fans and feedback. This is for the Elevating Construction Superintendence book, which is getting really good reviews. I saw a bunch more reviews on Amazon. It continues to sell, and I appreciate everybody who's scaling it. So it says, great guide and helpful for organizing thoughts. This book is extremely useful to help organize day-to-day priorities and responsibilities for a superintendent. It also helps list a lot of good topics to research, so learn proper scheduling methods and best practices, which my company, a large GC firm, seems to have trouble providing actual training or details on. The only thing that I think would be beneficial for the audiobook version is maybe a PDF giving lists of books recommended steps for meetings, types of schedules to implement, etc., to avoid having to take notes while listening to the book. So I love that feedback. That's great. And I also will tell you that I do have those, and they're on the website, elevateconstructionist.com. And you go under field resources, and all of those checklists and signs and things are there, and they're also in the printed form. I also got a bit of feedback that said covers too much information, too many rules to be remembered. Seems like it would be hard to remember all of them. And I'll just be vulnerable and transparent with you. Like, I have a hard time respecting comments like that. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd love feedback on that. Am I being too stubborn with stuff like that? Or is it a situation where superintendents need to step up and realize that it takes an intelligent and competent human being to be a superintendent, and that we should stop saying things like, hey, this is too complex. Let me simplify it down, because the role of a superintendent is complex. And so how about we make it implementable? Anyway, I'd love some feedback on that. Am I being too rigid, stubborn, or not listening for that? Definitely don't want to do that. But one person says it's fantastic, I want more. Actually, 90% of the people said fantastic, I want more. And then one person said it's too much. Actually, that same person didn't like boot camp. So I'm starting to see a pattern there. Anyway, so here's some conflict. You're not setting the right boundaries on the construction project, and you deserve to. It's something that you deserve. So I decided at the research laboratory that I was going to make sure that people did their own work. They ran their own crews, and we implemented things like contractor grading and things like that, which I've talked to you about over and over ad nauseum. Probably tired of hearing me say it. But the principle is, and I heard Caitlin Frank say this the first time, is that it really comes down to setting these proper boundaries. Again, not in an emotional, dramatic way, but in I don't expect anything from you, but I do have standards, and I will appreciate everything good that you do, but I'm still going to do the right thing. A dispassionate, hey, we're still going to do this. We're still going to do the right thing. These are my boundaries, right? We should have boundaries in relationships. We should have boundaries in life. We should have boundaries with friendships. We should have boundaries in every, from a religious context, hey, I will and I will not do this, right? So here's how I think about it. So when boundaries are crossed, and you allow people to do that, you end up playing savior with people. And if you hear any of Eric Thomas's videos, he's like, if you let people treat you any kind of way, if you let people disrespect you, if you let people do that in your organization, that's going to become a culture. And so a culture is the behaviors and beliefs of a social group. And if you let people do that, and if you play savior with people, the lowercase s, and if you let people cross boundaries, that's going to become a culture. And so with everyone, me personally, my boundaries are trades must keep the site clean. Trades must keep the site organized. Everyone must be safe according to the orientation and basic OSHA safety training. Trades must complete their daily reports and do their basic legal requirements on the project site. Like, that's it. Everyone has to do that. Those are my boundaries. Those will take place, and I will stand in the way. There's two options. My employers are either going to fire me, or we're going to work within these boundaries because it's the right thing to do. So that's for everyone. For trade partners, and this is the same thing that goes on my grading criteria. And so the contractor grading sheet is literally just a formal way of having boundaries. Is the trade partner clean? Have they had to be reminded to be clean? Are they taking care of the campus or neighbors? Do all of the crews have safety plans, JHAs, and pre-task plans for their daily work and turned in? Are foremen and workers on time for huddles? That's an expectation. That's a boundary. You will not cross that boundary, right? Are deliveries scheduled, coordinated, and on time? Are materials and manpower ready for commitments that week? Those are my boundaries. And if somebody crosses those boundaries, then we will do the right thing. We'll adjust the process. We'll adjust the situation. We'll remove the person from the project. But those things will happen. So there's a lot of little different dials that can be turned, but that's what I expect. And one of the most important ones, which I'll mention now, is clean and steady. We are not going to make workers go fast to overcompensate for a failure in the project. They will work at a steady and reasonable and responsible and maybe a little bit quick pace, but they will not go fast and be forced to be put in unsafe situations. That is a boundary. So for the project, for the on-site, like when I'm a project director or field director or general superintendent, then I would ask you to have the same boundaries. Bathrooms have to be wonderful. Lunch areas have to be provided. Like that is a boundary. Nobody's going to cross that boundary. We need to respond quickly to safety needs and to any other needs on the project. There has to be a clear plan for the week and the day that everyone can follow. We have to reduce variation and impacts with roadblocks daily. This site must always be clean and organized. Deliveries and material access has to be planned and enforced. The site has to be visually managed well for all workers, and we have to make sure that everyone on site, all the trade partners, succeed. With the owner, here are my boundaries. We need to process change orders in an orderly fashion. The main workforce will continue working on contract work as we figure out changes. The workforce and trade partners all work collaboratively under the GC's direction. We don't have the owner out there causing drama. The owner will be professional with the project team and in meetings and not be abusive. There's a number of others probably, but those are the main ones. And then here's the biggest one. And here's why supers get strung all over heck and back, is because we don't have boundaries with our time. I remember, and boy, I wish I could find it. Now, I won't be able to find it just yet, but there was a sign that a superintendent in Hawaii sent me. And if you're listening to this, send it to me again and I'll share it, please. And I did share it on one of the podcasts. He had a sign on the door saying, hey, more than welcome to talk to you. You're always welcome. You're my team member. But whatever question you're going to give me, have you already read the drawings? Have you already looked at the submittals? Have you already called your office? Have you coordinated with the other trade partners? Have you exhausted all your resources? And then it's just a little cute little checklist to say, hey, we should all do our own work. And at the end of the day, trades need you as the superintendent to be at the helm, steering the ship. And if you let the trade partners make you answer all their RFIs, run all your errands, go to Home Depot, solve all your problems, go get all the information, interpret the drawings, all these things without them having to do it themselves, then you're not at the helm and everybody runs rampant. So with my time, I time block my work. I have time to help throughout the day, but not always, outside of those time blocks. And the trades need to coordinate with other trades before talking to me. They need to research the drawings before talking to me. They need to write their own RFIs. They need to research their own submittals. They need to call their own office. They need to go do the research before wasting my time. Now, if it's a legitimate thing, I want everybody to feel open all the time, but we have to have boundaries, right? And, boundaries at home. Spouse cannot be abusive. Boundaries with my children. You have to be here at 10 o'clock. You're not going to ever look at pornography. You need to make sure that your computers are out in open spaces. We have boundaries at home. Boundaries at church. Boundaries are with friends. You need to decide what your boundaries are. And it all comes down to this quote, which I've mentioned early on, like in the hundreds in the podcast, is that the success of any organization is determined by the worst behavior that you or the leader is willing to tolerate. So if you don't have boundaries, then you're tolerating everything, and it's becoming a culture, and whatever culture you have will determine your success. So the current condition is people don't set boundaries, and I challenge you to set boundaries and to make sure that, like Eric Thomas said, people don't treat you any kind of way, that people don't just go out and run rampant on the project site, that those boundaries protect you and the trades that are performing so that everybody can rise to the occasion and be an A player. You must set boundaries. The success of any organization is determined by the worst behavior the leader is willing to tolerate. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.